Welcome to the Warframe Open Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Glaive. You can get the blueprint for the Glaive from Nightwave, so it can be somewhat difficult to get at times because not only does Nightwave have to be active, it also has to be in the Nightwave shop, and the shop only rotates every 7 days. The Glaive is a Mastery Rank 1, Glaive that does primarily slash damage with a little bit of puncture and impact on the side. It is decently fast, it has very short range, which doesn't really matter because you're going to be throwing it most of the time. And it comes with pretty low crit and status of only 12% with a standard 2x crit multiplier. The stats do get a little bit better when you throw it though. The crit and status go up to 14%, the crit multi is 2.1 times, and the damage is a little bit higher as well. And if you execute a fully charged throw, which most of the time you probably will, the damage gets even better, the crit and status go up to 16%, and the crit multi goes up to 2.2 times. Now, heavy attacks on glaives work a little bit differently. They allow you to detonate the glaive mid-air, so you first have to throw it and then press the heavy attack button while the glaive is mid-air, which will detonate it. And on the standard glaive, this explosion does pure blast damage and it has a guaranteed impact proc. Now, there are multiple different ways in which you can build a glaive. You can either use this build and basically use it as any other melee weapon, which is probably going to result in the best DPS overall. Or you can use a build that will focus on throwing the glaive, which is going to look something like this, and I would very much not recommend going for slash and viral here because it's just not very reliable on the standard glaive. Or there's option number 3, where you actually build it for dual wielding with a secondary weapon, because glaives can be dual wielded with any one-handed secondary weapon. In that case, you would build the weapon for maximum damage with condition overload and then use the secondary as a primer for your glaive. I personally like the throwing build on the glaive the most, specifically the volatile rebound version, where the glaive bounces all over the place and it explodes with every bounce. But there is also a version with volatile quick return, which is more of a heavy attack build, where the glaive doesn't bounce, but it has a much bigger explosion radius. The downside of the volatile rebound version is that while it has amazing clear, especially at lower levels, so the Star Chart, Nightmare and Fusion missions, that kind of stuff, its single target isn't great. If you want good single target, I would either recommend you go for the heavy attack build, or you use it as any other melee weapon and go for a more light attack focused setup instead, or you run it with a good secondary that will prime your condition overload. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, right now, which is the Angels of the Salaman patch, glaives are still wonky as hell, okay? Their light attack animations break with even the tiniest amount of attack speed, and the bounces are just all over the place. So your best bet at the moment is probably going to be a heavy attack build. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I would absolutely recommend the standard glaive, assuming that you can get the blueprint of Nightwave, of course. But I would only recommend it to newer players. If you're a more advanced player and you can get access to some of the better glaives, definitely go for one of those instead. Like the Glaive Prime, for example. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.